Today, we're gonna have a little chat about nutrition, more specifically, carbohydrate. Are they really as bad as the press makes out, or is there a different story to it? I suggest you stick around because in this video, we're gonna find out. Carbs are given a bad press, I think. They are seen as something that are going to make you really fat and potentially very unhealthy. I think this is due to the popularised diets like the keto diet or the zero carb diets you tend to find in health magazines. These diets promote your protein intake, which I mentioned in the female hormone cycle video, isn't really that great for women. It's also not amazing for men. They're trying to make carbohydrate the scapegoat to sell you their own diets. And you know what? Millions of people across the world buy into these diets. And I personally think a lot of endurance athletes are missing out on a very key macronutrient. This is ultimately hindering their performance. The key is to know which carbs are which and when to use each one. They both have different utilities and both can be used to help you perform at your best. So first things first, into the basics. There are two types of carbohydrate, simple and complex. You know what? We're going to start with the simple one. A few examples of a simple carbohydrate: white pasta, white rice, white bread, concentrated fruit juice, chips, sugary snacks, highly processed cereals, honey, sports gels. I could go on all day. Essentially, anything that has been highly processed. These carbohydrates tend to be very low in fiber and easily digested by your body. This means that these foods aren't very satiating at all. They easily break down into sugars and to be used for quick release energy. This kind of has a twofold effect. They're really calorie dense and they leave you very hungry shortly afterwards. This is mainly why carbohydrates on the whole are given a bad rep. But I wouldn't say completely rule them out your diet at all. Due to them being really easy to digest, it will give you, as I said before, that quick release of energy. So if you have a workout coming up shortly, a source of simple carbohydrates can really give you that boost to get you going. So let's say you have a session in the evening and it's coming up to lunchtime. Maybe having a bit of pasta isn't such a bad thing. Same goes if when you're having your supper and you've got a race or something the next day. Having those simple carbohydrates will mean your body is all full of that lovely glycogen which you can be using in your race. It will also pass through your system a lot more easily, really reducing the amount of bloating. You don't really want to be carrying around what feels like a balloon when you're jogging. As anyone knows who's run next to me after I've eaten a lot of fiber, you really can be gassy off complex carbohydrates. They are also fantastic during a huge workout. I'm talking workouts that are going to last like 90 minutes or beyond. We talked about them before in the marathon nutrition video. The gels can really be utilised to top up your glycogen levels, and this will avoid the dreaded bonk. So if that's simple carbohydrates, what are complex carbohydrates? Complex carbohydrates at the heart are far less processed. So a few examples of those will be brown rice, whole wheat pasta, whole wheat cereal, steel cut oats, couscous, quinoa, bulgur wheat, whole fruits. Essentially, the ones that haven't been processed. The main difference here is they're a lot higher in fiber than their simple counterparts. This means that your body will take a lot longer to digest them and break down, providing a much more slow release of energy through the day, whereas a simple carbohydrate will give you proper spikes of energy just after you've had them. This leaves you a lot more satiated and less likely to eat more in the future. After most spikes comes a big come down. So just having that proper smooth release of energy means that you're not going to feel as groggy afterwards. They're essential to properly attack your sessions. This is why people say porridge is the breakfast of champions, and people tend to take it the morning of a race. But carbohydrates aren't just important for during and after exercise, they're actually really important for aiding your recovery too. Once you've done a huge session or race, your glycogen levels are going to be diminished completely. So it's necessary for your muscles to recover to be topping those back up. Why do we do this? Well, your muscles really need that energy to be able to fuel that recovery process so you can come back stronger and make the most gains from your workout. Protein is heralded as the most needed thing to recover. This is true if you're a proper gym rat, but honestly, a decent 3-to-1 ratio carbohydrate to protein is perfect for you endurance athletes. Most decent recovery drinks should kind of have that ratio baked in already. Of course, protein is needed for protein synthesis to recover those muscles, but you don't quite get the same tearing in endurance events as you do heavy weightlifting, so the protein needed isn't as much, so you can't really use the same logic when recovering as a gym person does as you would an endurance athlete. Carbohydrates are a really essential tool and they shouldn't be feared. It's just about making sure you're taking the right stuff at the right time and the right quantities. Plus, shockingly, simple carbohydrates tend to be more of the fun foods, so having them on the odd occasion is absolutely fine. It's all about finding that balance, and ultimately, a healthy diet you can stick to consistently is far better one than a perfect diet that's absolutely ruining your life. This has just been a brief overview about carbohydrates, and obviously, if you have any more questions, I can go into more depth in the future. Just leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, as ever, please like this video, subscribe, and I've been the Learning Runner, and I'll catch you in the next one.